Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini, who helps me in the craft room. At least he keeps me company. Sometimes his help is dubious at best. And we have a very fun little card for you today. I am using the Country Floral paper. And the last one was all stamping, and this one is very little stamping, a birthday card, and I think you're going to like it. Let's just get started. Here is my card. I fell in love with the bicycle paper, and so I decided that I wanted to make a card, and this one just says spring to me. It's just so cheery and simple, and it's a very fast card to make. What you need to make this card is I used a Whisper White thick, basic white thick cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Then I had my scalloped contour dies out on my desk from the card I made the other day with the frame on it. And I used the scalloped edge in that die set. Since it was out on my desk, I went ahead and used it for this card. And I just love the way it came out. Now, this part here, and then we're just going to put that scalloped die, in fact, it's right here, and you can see how much I took off, roughly, about 3/4 of an inch to put that on here and get that put in place, and we'll die cut that edge to give us this pretty little scallop. Then you need the Country Floral paper, and what I did was I used this pretty pink paper to back the bicycles, and so and what I'm changing on this one is I think I like this better if these papers went all the way across the card. Now, by the time I got to here, I made it go all the way across, but this piece is cut 5.5 by 3 1/8. And that is going to be just enough to go all the way across the front of this card. Then this paper is also cut 5.5. What I did was I cut off right like this. So I have the flowers above and below the bicycle and one row of the hearts in between the flowers and the bicycles. And that allowed me to cut this little strip of hearts here, and I've got one of those cut, and where that is on the card is on the inside. So here I've got a strip of this Sweet Sorbet designer series paper. It's on the back side of this beautiful paper. Hard to use one side or the other here, but this is cut also 5.5, and this one is cut by 1 inch, so 5.5 by 1 inch. And then I had this cute little piece left cut from where I was trimming the paper, and I thought, isn't that cute? I'm going to go ahead and just layer that at the top there, and it brings a little bit of that design in. And so there it is. Now, what I'm doing is using a couple of different things. This Sending Smiles is coming from this stamp set, Sending Smiles, and it is sending, and I used the dies for that word, sending, and so you need a strip of this Sweet Sorbet so that you can cut out that sending, and I've got mine cut out. Here it is. And let's see, what else did I use? I think that's all I used from the dies, and then I said birthday wishes here. And my birthday wishes is just this little tiny piece right along the bottom that says birthday wishes. Now on this one I used the butterflies. Frankly, I don't like them. I'm going to switch over to rhinestones because they're just not sparkly enough. They were a little flat on here. There's so much going on with the paper. I think you need something pretty bright to capture this. Our base is 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. And then we're going to cut with this die the edge off. Then we have a piece 5.5 by 2 3/4 for the bicycle paper. And then this piece is 5.5 by 3 1/8, and that's just going to sit on top of this and cover the front of our card. Then we have our little scallop sticking out here, and I did use a dauber, and I'll tell you, using a dauber and trying to get in between these places here didn't work, so I had to use a Q-tip. It dipped in ink to get in those little spots there. And then I cut out the sending out of this pretty Sweet Sorbet, and that is the whole thing. Now this stamp that's on the inside comes from the stamp set that goes with this, which is Country Bouquet. And I use these two stamps from Country Bouquet, and one of them is this little flower pattern that's here, and this one is a couple of little hearts. And I thought the combination of those two from the Country Bouquet stamp set would go well on here. Okay, so that's all of the pieces. I'm going to go off camera and cut this piece here, and I will be right back. Okay, here is my piece cut off from here. I'm going to go ahead and get my ink put down on this piece straight away because it took a little bit to get it, like I said, in those spots, and I want to do that before I get very far so that dries, and then I don't take the chance of getting some of this ink on some other things. And what I found that I could do is come into these little corners here between the scallops, and using my Q-tip get some ink in between there, because it's really hard to get your dauber in there. So there we go. Ink in that tough spot, and then the dauber to come around and pick up a little bit of that Sweet Sorbet. I thought it looked really nice on the edge of this scallop, just to add a little bit of interest, because it's so stark white otherwise. And there I've got my ink including in the little crevice. And I said just a little Q-tip to make that kind of work. And there we go. Now that can sit and dry for a second. And while that does that, we can go ahead and get some of our pieces put together here. So these two pieces are just going to layer one on top of the other. So I can do that. So I'm going to use my seal. By the way, I'm trying a little experiment. If you decide that you like the card and you don't happen to have these pieces or this paper or this set, now I can't do your stamping for you, but I made a couple of extra kits, and they're going to be on my blog right when I post this video on YouTube. And a kit is the makings for 2 cards, and that'll be up for sale on Shop With Me Kits to Go. And if you just want to get the kits and not mess with this, you'll get the die cut. The only thing you'll have to do is put your own birthday wishes, because they won't let me stamp for you. So but that's going to be up for sale on my blog right as this video posts. And my kits are very affordable. They're $10, and that is for the 2 kits. Okay, so here we go on here, and I'm going to add this so that it covers the entire front of the card. And isn't that pretty? It's just such a pretty little card. And so cheery. It snowed here again yesterday. I am so ready for spring. It's not even funny. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of my sending here. Doing this on your silicone mat makes a big difference because your glue won't stick to the silicone mat. I'll just be able to rub that little piece off when I'm done, and it'll pick right up. In fact, maybe I'll just do this, and then I can use that little bit as I dip in here to get it in the places that I want it. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to use tweezers to pick this up and put my sending at a bit of an angle right across here on the card. And we'll set that down there. And then I have a scrap of white that I mounted my birthday wishes. And this has got a lot of nice things. Sending sunshine to brighten your day, all the good luck your way, smiles across the miles, love and big hugs, birthday wishes, thanks, a card to say hello, and comfort and strength. It's really a very versatile little set. Okay, so let me get my ink back here. And I am going to stamp this right down here in the corner because I wanted this to be just ever so slight. And so there's my birthday wishes. And what I would do is just take my trimmer or my scissors and just trim that down. Now, I've made a couple of them ahead of time, so I have mine already done, and I'm not going to raise it on dimensionals. I'm just going to go ahead and add it to the bottom of the front of my card. So while there's a lot going on with the paper and everything else, there's nothing that's raised on this. And there we go. All right. So sending birthday wishes. And then on the inside, we have our piece of paper here. And we're going to go ahead and put some dot runner on that one. And put that in place with my hearts going the right direction. And lay that right down on the edge of the card. There we go, just like that. And then I have that tiny little strip of those blue hearts that I cut from the designer paper when I was cutting out my bicycles. So what we're going to do is put a little bit of dot runner across the back of this little piece of paper, and I'm going to put it right up against these little hearts on the Sweet Sorbet and butt that paper right up to the edge, get it to come all the way across here, and there it is on there perfectly. And I'm just going to run my gum eraser across the top, take any little pieces of glue off, and there we go. Now I have my two little stamps, the flower and the heart, and I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and use the Sweet Sorbet here and put those little pieces in so that we have a little bit more decoration on the inside. And there's our little flower cluster, just like the ones on the front. right in here. And then I have these two pretty little hearts, which I'm going to tuck right above them right here. And there we go. There is our decoration for the inside. Isn't that just the prettiest little card? And it's so simple. Like I said, however, if you don't want to fuss with it, you would get all of the pieces to make this, and including the die cut. So over on my blog right now, and when they're gone, they're gone. There's only about 6 or 7 kits, something like that there. Okay, so I'm going to add some rhinestones. I'm going to put a rhinestone here because I don't know what happened to my eye, the dot for my eye. So I'll dot it in a rhinestone. There. In fact, I need to use my pick tool. And so I'm going to set a rhinestone or two around on this little card and see how much more they pop. Look at that. Yeah, I'm going to put some on this little bicycle wheel there. And I think one more, maybe up here. So there we go. That is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. In fact, I was just talking to a new team member a minute ago on the phone, Judy Beeler, who is in Florida. And Judy's been watching for a while, and she couldn't pass up the deal that's going on right now. It's $175 worth of product for $99. And if you spend the $30 more, so $129, you get the small Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, blue or white, your choice. Isn't that fun? So there we go. Let's see, there's always a prize draw, $60 shopping spree on me, and you put yourself in the drawing by placing an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, and you can get to it through my blog, www.ingenuity.com. So that's it for me. I will be back with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye!